Hi, welcome to the StarFleet Leadership Academy. And you say, what kind of title is that? It sounds like something out of Star Trek. And you know what? The reason is because, well, it is. That's right. This is a series that we are doing on leadership that really finds its basis in Star Trek. Particularly, some of the leadership lessons we learn from none other than James Tiberius Kirk. Young Kirk, as in the original series, and the older Kirk, as we see him toward the end of his run in Generations. The reason that we're going to do that is because I think there's some leadership lessons that are there that help us in a lot of different areas of life. And so we're going to take a look and walk through the halls of Starfleet Academy, I guess for lack of a better term, and look at some things that remind us of what is important for leaders to remember. So if you're a leader in a workplace environment, these will have some application. If you're the leader in a church environment, they'll have application. If you're a leader in a school environment, they'll have application. If you're leading your family, it has some application there. If you're just leading on a team or you're coaching a team, all of these will fit. And so I think that you'll enjoy the series. If you're a Star Trek fan, you're going to love it. And if you're not a Star Trek fan, then you probably won't watch past this episode anyway, will you? And that's okay, we understand that. But let's go ahead and jump into this first episode, episode 1. And I would entitle this one, I guess, the Kobayashi Maru. And what I mean by that is, if you are a Star Trek fan, you already know what I'm talking about. James Tiberius Kirk is one of those iconic characters that comes along in a generation, literally, that seems to carry over in the media world. And so Kirk is a recognized character in the original TV series, in movies, in cartoons, in books, and the character has been talked about, referenced, and used in a variety of other settings. Now, William Shatner is the actor that brought the character to life, and he didn't know in the 60s that he was going to create a character that we would be talking about all these years later, much less putting under the microscope and looking at some of the stuff that went on. But in this particular episode, I want to make reference to probably one of the most interesting and fun of the Star Trek films, Star Trek II, in the motion picture series, The Wrath of Khan. It was a film where the character of Captain Kirk was dealing with getting older and trying to deal with aging and maybe not being able to command the ship like he has been in the past. He's been promoted at this point. He goes back. He's feeling old. All those kind of things start weaving into it. So there's a lot of backstory to it. But they make reference to something. Happens early in the film. Happens again later. There is a simulation at Starfleet Academy called the Kobayashi Maru. And what it is a scenario that they put future captains and crews in training through in a simulator that puts them into a situation against the Klingons that turns into an impossible situation. In other words, it puts leaders into the firing line where every decision they make has life or death consequences, and ultimately they destroy the simulator, they get blown up, all those bad things happen. But yet the good news is it's a simulator, so they're all okay. It's known as the Kobayashi Maru. When it starts and when it begins, everybody gets nervous about it. But it comes out in the film that Captain James T. Kirk, as a cadet at Starfleet Academy, is the only cadet ever to beat the Kobayashi Maru. And so part of the underlining storyline is, how in the world did you defeat what in essence is a no-win scenario? And so as they find themselves with the back against the wall, Khan looks like he has beat them. It looks pretty bleak. And of course, Captain Kirk, as he always does, pulls a miracle out of thin air, it seems, and all of a sudden there's hope for the future. You find out that he changed the program. He rewrote the simulation. He put a escape into the no-win scenario. When he's asked why he did it, he simply pops off very quickly, I don't believe in a no-win scenario. And once again, he saves the universe, and Khan is defeated, and it's a happy story. But it gives you a glimpse into this character that has become, and again, as I called him earlier, iconic in the world of entertainment. He's a leader who doesn't believe in the no-win scenario. That is, for leaders, a characteristic that those that follow them want to see in them. See, there's nothing worse or more demoralizing than following a leader who is demoralizing, defeated, and feels like there's no way out. That doesn't motivate anyone. That doesn't get anyone excited. And I think when people look at a leader, they look at a leader with a desire to think that even if they don't have a plan, they're going to figure one out. And when you follow a leader, you put some trust in that leader. And you trust that leader to use the resources that are available to figure out a way to come out on top. In essence, that's what Cadet Kirk did when he reprogrammed the no-win scenario. For him, it was not an option to lose. And so he took what was there, and he took the resources available, and while some would say he cheated, what he actually did was cheat death. And he figured out a way to find life when everyone else saw nothing but defeat. There's a lot of other lessons that are wrapped up in that. That same scenario got written up in a Star Trek novel as well. And so there's a whole volume of stuff out there if you're a Star Trek fan on the Kobayashi Maru and how Kirk beat it. But I think it gives us a glimpse into this character that they created. And for us as leaders, for people who want to be leaders, I think it's a reminder that people look to us for answers, and they look to us not to be flawless, but they look to us to be people who will instill hope in hopeless situations, directions when no one else is able to find them, and a way to move forward when everyone else is moving backward. I don't believe in a no-win scenario either, but that's not because of the fact that I'm a Star Trek fan. It's because I know, according to my faith and following Jesus, I know who wins in the end. And so, first lesson of leadership from StarFleet Leadership Academy is simply this: there's no such thing as a no-win scenario. If you're a follower of Christ, there's always hope. There's always a future. And in the end, he wins. Important lesson to learn. So join me here next time in these hallowed halls where we look to Captain Kirk for a little bit of leadership lesson, but the reality is we just look for some practical lessons on how to lead better. Until next time.